Imagine a quiet Sunday morning in Wylie, Texas, 1978. The kind of suburban town where everyone attends the same Methodist church. Kids ride bikes freely, and housewives swap recipes after service. It looks like the perfect American dream. But behind closed doors, Candy Montgomery is restless. At 30 years old, this petite, bubbly blonde with 2 young children feels trapped in a predictable marriage to her husband, Pat. Life has become routine. PTA meetings, church potlucks, and endless housework. Across the pews sits Alan Gore, a tall, quiet insurance salesman, and his strong-willed wife, Betty. Betty and Candy are friends. Their daughters play together. Everything seems normal. Then one Sunday, in a parked car after church, Candy makes a startling proposition to Alan. Let's have an affair. No romance, no emotions, just 1 day a week, scheduled like a business meeting. Alan is shocked, but he agrees. The affair begins on December 12th, 1978, while Betty is pregnant with their second child. For the next 10 months, they meet in cheap motels. Candy feels alive again, desired, electric, free from the boredom of suburbia. Stolen phone calls, secret laughter, passionate afternoons. Alan struggles with guilt, but he can't stop. By the summer of 1979, after Betty gives birth to their daughter, the affair quietly ends. No drama, or so they believe. Now fast forward to Friday, June 13th, 1980. A date that feels pulled from a horror movie. Alan is out of town on a business trip in Minnesota. Candy's kids are playing with the Gore's older daughter, who slept over at the Montgomerys the night before. Candy drives over to the Gore house for a simple reason: to pick up the little girl's swimsuit and maybe arrange one more night. It's supposed to be quick, but the moment she steps inside, Betty's suspicion explodes. "Are you having an affair with my husband?" Betty demands. Candy admits it. She apologizes. She tries to leave. Betty won't let her. In a fit of rage, Betty storms into the garage, grabs a 3-foot-long wood-splitting axe, the kind used for chopping firewood, and swings it at Candy. The first blow slices into Candy's foot, cutting her toe. Blood hits the floor. Panic takes over. The 2 women, once friends, grapple desperately for the weapon. Candy, smaller but fighting for her life, manages to wrench the axe away. What happens next is almost impossible to comprehend. According to Candy, a blind rage of survival took hold. She strikes back, over and over, 41 times in total, most of the blows landing on Betty's head and face. The garage and utility room turn into a slaughterhouse. Blood splatters everywhere. Betty Gore, 30 years old, mother of 2, lies dead on the floor. Her 1-year-old baby daughter is still inside the house, crying alone for hours until neighbors finally check on her later that afternoon. Candy walks out of the house, drives home, showers, changes her clothes, and tries to act completely normal. She even chats with friends and picks up her own kids as if nothing happened. But the evidence is overwhelming. Bloody fingerprints, a bloody footprint. By evening, police are at her door. Candy Montgomery is arrested for the murder of Betty Gore. The small town of Wylie is in shock. How could this church-going housewife commit such a brutal killing? The trial begins in October 1980 in McKinney, Texas. It lasts 8 days and captivates the entire community. Candy takes the stand and tells her story calmly. Betty attacked first with the axe. She was only defending herself. Her lawyers bring in a polygraph expert who says she's telling the truth. They also introduce psychiatric testimony, suggesting Candy entered a dissociative state, a kind of temporary insanity triggered by extreme terror. The prosecution fights back hard. 41 blows, they argue. That's not self-defense. That's rage. That's overkill. The courtroom is packed. Spectators hang on every word. Outside, the town is divided. After just over 3 hours of deliberation, the jury, 9 women and 3 men, returns with their verdict. Not guilty. The courtroom erupts. Candy collapses in tears of relief. Her husband Pat embraces her. But outside, angry voices shout, "Murderer!" as she leaves. To this day, the case sparks fierce debate. Was it truly self-defense? Or did Candy lose control in a moment of fury? After the acquittal, Candy and Pat Montgomery tried to disappear from public life. They moved away, raised their children, and Candy never spoke about the case again in interviews. Alan Gore remarried quickly. Betty's family was left to grieve in silence. The little girl who cried alone that day carried the trauma into adulthood. This shocking true story refused to fade away. It inspired 2 major television series, Hulu's Candy and David E. Kelley's 7-episode HBO miniseries Love and Death, now streaming on Netflix since December 2025. Elizabeth Olsen delivers a mesmerizing performance as Candy, capturing every layer of her charm, desperation, and darkness. In the end, the Candy Montgomery case remains one of the most disturbing true crime stories in American history. A tale of forbidden desire, suburban boredom, explosive violence, and a verdict that still divides people more than 40 years later. Love and death in the heart of the Texas suburbs. 1 axe, 41 blows, and a question that may never be fully answered.